want to bring in Rob Luna, Wealth Academy founder Rob Luna. You know, Rob, I've seen this picture before, many times where it's like, hey, don't worry. These are the greatest companies in the world. Don't worry about traditional stock market valuations and those things. And which, by the way, I'm not a big person. I don't really care too much about PE ratios and things. But even the greatest companies in the world can have overvalued stocks.
Yeah, absolutely, Charles. I mean, look, yeah, it's always scary to say this is a new world, this is a new market, start valuing things different, but in general, it is, Charles. And if you look at companies, the way they're growing is through technology. The valuations on these companies, although they appear, if you're looking in the rearview mirror, to be expensive, if you look at the forward growth and the amount of investments that's going into them, they're really not that expensive. And we've been talking on your show for several months now about the same names, CrowdStrike, Palo Alto, Cloudflare. These are the companies that people want to be invested in. They're not trying to pick bottoms in value stocks and small cap stocks. Stick with what's working. I think that's the trend that will continue, Charles.
Again, and listen, I was there for 2000 when it was working, and then when it stopped, It was pretty painful for 3 years. Same sort of scenario happened over and over again. So is there a limit to where you would buy a CrowdStrike? Is there at some point, even the best name has got to be, the value has to be factored in there. Even future growth has to be factored into the share price.
Yeah, no, I agree, Charles. And look, after the run-up that we had, it's getting a lot riskier to buy these names. I'd rather buy them in pullbacks. That thing, I'll speak with my own money. I'm not selling these stocks because I think you've got 3 to 5 years more of secular growth in the names. Don't get shaken out of them. But look, if you're buying them here, you have to expect a little bit of a pullback.
Rob, last year, and we saw a lot of folks saying that value was the place to be. Obviously, it wasn't this year. Yeah. Same thing, January, particularly in the first couple of days, right, when there was some profit taking in the big cap names. And if you look at it, value represents such a small portion of the stock market these days. Is there any value to value investing?
Well, that's the thing, Charles, right? If you look at the S&P 500, it's all the big names that are rallying. So as an S&P investor, you don't necessarily need this breadth that everybody is working at. Now, look, in terms of value names, it all depends on where you're at as an investor. If you're looking to pick up some income, there's some good value names that have a dividend right now that you're able to pay. But if you're a growth investor, and I think this year in particular, if you're going to see rates come down, I think I'm calling this the Trump rally. I think you're going to see growth come back into the market in the second half of this year. It's probably not the year to be chasing value.
Real quick then, 2 things. I got a minute to go. First, Netflix, they report after the bell. It's one of those growth names that, people are going to be looking at as sort of a harbinger or a proxy for the rest. What do you think?
Yeah, Netflix, I think, is in a great space because it's a tech name and it's also the consumer, which I think you want to play here. Charles, I was bearish on Netflix for a long time up until the middle of last year. Reason being, they were totally reliant on subs. But now if you look at advertising, if you look at gaming revenue, this stock was trading near 700 a couple years ago. I think this is the time you want to buy Netflix. Obviously, before an earnings report, you don't buy the whole position. But I think this stock has 30 to 40% upside in the next 12 months.
Yeah, it was a bold but smart move to cut back on the sharing of those passwords. I got 30 seconds left. What's your favorite idea right now, Rob?
I hate to say it because I've been saying it for a while, but you got to stick with cybersecurity here. CrowdStrike, Palo Alto, Zscaler, those are names that I think continue to rally. They're both offensive and defensive. That's a pretty good place to be positioned right now.
All right, folks, and I will just add, because I like those names as well, that they're what they call high beta names. So if the market is down 2%, they may be down 3%. So just understand those high flyers can be sort of wild at times. But to Rob's point, they've been crushing it. Hey, Rob, thank you very much, my friend. Talk to you again real soon.
Thanks, Charles.